Welcome to Highly Sensitive, Happily Married, the podcast that teaches you to not only have an easier marriage as a sensitive woman, but to have one that feels more amazing by the day. Where you'll hear relatable stories, love advice that works, and coaching on how to have a marriage where feeling upset and disconnected is a thing of the past, and where instead a sense of loving connection and even fun and lightness is the norm. I'm Hannah Brooks, highly sensitive person, love expert, and marriage coach, and I'm so happy to be on this journey with you. Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 167. And I know that you are listening in part, at least most likely, because you love connection and closeness and that yummy intimacy with a beloved, with someone you love. And even if that feels hard to get to currently with your spouse, deep down, a big part of you does want deep connection with your significant other. It's one of the biggest essential desires for their relationship that I hear from the deep feeling and sensitive women that I work with. And because of that, I want to help you get it. I want you to get a whole lot more of it. If you're the closeness you're feeling and the connection you're feeling in your relationship isn't that awesome, or even if it's decent, but you'd like to feel even more close, I'd like to help you get that quickly. Not months from now, but today and next week and the week after. And that's why I'm finally, bringing back the Closer to Your Husband in 7 Days challenge. And enrollment just opened. This was a super popular event and super effective for participants when I hosted it 2 times in the past. And it is now updated and oh so much better. So even if you took it before, and certainly if you've never done this challenge with me, do it now in real time with me. We start Tuesday, October 15th. And the best part is if you enroll by the 14th, not only do you get my direct support to help with any obstacles or questions or concerns that come up along the way, but it's only $24 and you get to keep it for life so you can revisit it whenever you want to. Because I appreciate you so much. And I really want to help you bring that intimacy and connection that you love more alive. And this challenge, this is a very tangible way to do that. So go check out the description to learn more and to sign up. You can find that in the show notes, in the description for this podcast, or you can head over to my website and you'll find a drop down for it there. Or you can go to the direct link, which is www.lifeisworthloving.com/closer to your husband in 7 days challenge. Just all spelled out, one word, no spaces. The 7 in there is the numeral, not spelled out. Go check that out now and sign up and then come back for some help with connection right now. Okay, so let's talk about today's topic, which is dreaming. And I don't mean like nighttime dreaming. I mean envisioning, imagining into the things that you want in your life and in your lives together. And we're going to talk about how that also increases connection and all the other benefits as well. So my husband and I dream a lot together. He is a huge dreamer. He dreams about moving to Canada, buying a bed and breakfast in Costa Rica, becoming a farmer, renovating an old barn here in Vermont, building a retreat cabin here, releasing his own music album, biking the Silk Road on his own, bike packing through Scotland with me, retiring to become a spinning wheel maker. Yes, I said a spinning wheel maker. I do have a hard time believing this one, which is why I'm giggling, but he insists it's a real dream. In any case, the list goes on and on. I actually think it's his number one hobby to dream. But I also share some of these dreams with him. And of course, I have my own dreams as well. And we often talk about these dreams together. Not to mention that we actually make some of these dreams come true as well. Not all of them. That would be crazy if we were doing all the things my husband's dreaming up doing. But we do make some of them come true. I think we absolutely can veer into the we dream too much realm. Like, yeah, it's a little excessive sometimes. But for the most part, our dreaming together is really exciting and it keeps us looking forward to our lives together. When we don't dream as a couple, when couples don't dream together, their vision for their future can start to look dull or boring, as if there is not much to look forward to. Maybe some of you can relate to that. And then life can start to feel more rote, more like, what's the point? And especially if the way things are feeling between you and your significant other aren't all that great in general, right? Like not having dreams that you're working towards and building together can really dull the present as well as the future. I remember one of my clients saying that she and her husband had not been dreaming about their futures or their future together at all because they were so focused on getting through the challenges of daily life. And so she felt like it was hard to imagine joy in their future because, of course, they weren't even imagining anything but more of exactly the same. And what they were experiencing wasn't all that awesome in the present anyway, right? And so she brought up traveling together in the future. And that opened the door to begin imagining fun things in their future. And even it opened the door to them strategizing together how they could start to make those fun things happen. So she was really excited and happy when she came to the next call because suddenly she and her husband were starting to look forward to their lives together again. So this is powerful. Dreaming together can be like the glue that keeps you moving side by side, happily, into a bright looking future. It's truly strengthening for your marriage and enriching for your marriage. And it's how you make cool things happen in your lives together. Because all attained goals start with a dream. You can think of an apple tree that's bearing fruit. The fruit all started with a seed, and that seed is like your dream. So this house that my husband and I built that we love so much, it started with a dream. And this podcast that I'm sharing with you right now, this started with a dream that I had and my husband supported me in. And our beautiful gardens that I can look out the window right now and see, our trips away, the dinner we hosted with friends the other night, these things all started with a little dream. Dreaming together really can lead to the birth of exciting adventures together and new chapters in your lives together, which can help keep the spark between you alive. And even can lead to world-changing creations. I know couples who've done amazing things together that impact the world positively, like adopt multiple kids from foster care, like create a school together, like run a farm together. And of course, all of these things started with a dream that one of them had and brought to the other, and then they started dreaming together, right? It calls to mind a dear friend of mine from high school who married his high school sweetheart, and they went on to have a successful band together. I mean, they weren't like Taylor Swift or anything. And then later, his wife became a published author and he wrote music for movie scores. And so at one point, when I was having a hard time in my first marriage and they'd been together maybe like 20 years already, right? Because they started way back in like sophomore year in high school. I asked him something to the effect of, what's the trick to being happily together this so long into your relationship? And he said to me in his poetic way, we spend more time looking outward into the world together than looking into each other's eyes. Wow. Right? Like that really struck me so much that I remember those exact words still. And I don't have the best memory. No, he was in part talking about supporting each other's dreams and true selves to unfold. Right? Like they had truly supported each other in making their like heart dreams for their own lives and their lives together come true by kind of being side by side and looking out into the world. Now, of course, I also think it's awesome and wonderful and important to look into each other's eyes some too. But this little story shows how key this dreaming together and supporting those dreams can be for a relationship. Which brings me to the fact that dreaming together is awesome, and which has already been implied, that dreaming as individuals and sharing those dreams with your spouse is also important. Because not only will that open the door to dreaming and possibly making it happen together, but it also gives your spouse the chance to know you better. Yay, deep intimacy and connection. And to honor that dream by supporting you and making it happen, and vice versa. So supporting each other's dreams, even if they're not really about the other person or like including so much the other one, is really a beautiful way to express your love for each other and to keep passion alive between you and just in general. When we honor each other's dreams, the rest of the relationship gets easier because we feel so supported in becoming more of who we want to be in this world. When I support my husband's what I think are kind of wacky dreams, you've probably heard me say this before, he's huge into bike packing. And he loves to go on these, what I think are crazy adventures, like for week-long adventures up and down like forested mountains with all this gear on his bike and sleeping like on the ground. Doesn't sound fun to me. He talks about how incredibly grueling it is. And for some reason, that's fun to him. And his dream is to keep doing this. And when I support that, he feels so loved and supported. He feels like he gets to be more of who he really is, and that I support that in him, and I love that for him, and that's just one of the best feelings. And I know that too because one of my dreams, which is kind of tender like a baby sprout from a seed, is to write and illustrate a children's book. And my husband is so ridiculously supportive of it. He believes in my capacity to do it even more than I do, probably. And I can't tell you how wonderful that feels. It gives me a sense of support, but also belief in my own self, in my dream. Which is affirming, right? Which makes it really much easier to start taking steps to make it happen. And he's already clearing out some space in his shop area for me to use as a painting studio. This is a kind of revived dream, and we're only just starting to take steps towards it, but he's really taking the bigger steps than I even am so far. And do we know if it's really going to happen? I don't know if I'll ever have a children's book published. I have other dreams I'm really focused on. And I've been creating this dream of my podcast and my whole business. I have so many little mini dreams within the bigger dream of my business. And I still have a lot of steps to take on all of that. But his support for this children's book dream makes it easier for me to discover my artistic gifts, my little kid book writing skills, right? And to really explore this artist side of myself more, who is very much an essential part of me. I've always been an artist, but it's been very much put aside for many years now. And if I ignored this essential part of myself, I'd feel like a part of me was buried. And if my husband wasn't open to this part of myself and didn't support this part of myself, I think I wouldn't feel fully seen, fully accepted, fully loved, fully supported, right? His support means all of who I am is getting honored. And that's a true, true gift. And when and if the book happens, I'm going to give him so much credit. So supporting and honoring your partner's dreams is one of the best things you can do for your marriage and for him, for them. And it's going to give you the gift of having a partner who's full of life and joy, at least way more so than if you didn't support them. So in many ways, it's as much for you as it is for them. It's really a win-win. And without that support of our most important dreams from our most important person, we can end up feeling resentful and bitter, and that our connection and our attraction is really going down the drain, right? So without that support, it can really be a lose-lose for both the individuals in the relationship and the relationship itself. But this does not mean you have to make all of your dreams come true. Not at all. We'd go nuts trying to make all of my husband's dreams come true. And in fact, I sometimes do feel quite overwhelmed when he starts talking about all of his dreams. And sometimes we have to let certain dreams go or choose the ones that are most important. And sometimes we have to choose whose turn it is to focus on their individual dream, because it's not going to always work to go for yours and your spouse's big dreams at the same time. Like if your dream is going to grad school and his is starting a new business, time and money-wise, it might just not work to do that at the exact same time. But taking turns can work, and supporting each other doing each of those things can really work. So whether you are now recognizing that you and your spouse could use a boost of dreaming together, or simply honoring each other's individual dreams, you may want to know where to start. It all starts by talking about your dreams, imagining together, discussing your things that you envision, your goals, your dreams. In other words, it starts with dreaming into possibilities. And I want to be clear that dreams don't have to be super tangible things. Dreams can include things like experiencing peace, right? And of course, they can also include things like getting great at something, like creating spinning wheels or, traveling, or the dream can be to just finish something you've started, or to build something, or to impact the world in some way, or to make amends with someone, or to heal a relationship, or to create a relationship, right? Really, anything you want counts. So obviously you're going to want to have a sense of what those things are for yourself, and I'm not going to talk about that here, but most of you know, to some degree, some of your dreams. And actually, you don't even need to know before you start talking with your spouse about them, because it is really that act of discussing your dreams with each other that can be so energizing and enriching and connecting, and it can also clarify what your dreams are. So I've pulled together a small list of questions you could start asking each other. And you can do this casually, or you can do this like as an actual sit-down conversation where you're like, let's talk about this stuff. So feel free to write these questions. You can ask each other down. Here they go. What do you imagine would be fun for us to do or to create in the future? How do you want your work life to change in the future? What's important to you that you haven't yet honored in your life? What are some ways we could honor it? What impact do you want to make on this world? What are some ways we could honor it? What could we do as a family that you felt wasn't practical, but you really would love to do anyway? What would be the best version of our lives together 20 years from now? What secret longing do you have for your life that you thought weren't that possible? Okay, so those are just a fraction of the questions you could ask to get the juices flowing. But notice how we don't have to, dreaming isn't about being practical. Actually, accomplishing them can require being practical, but we've got to start really dreaming without the parameters or the limitations of practicality. So start there. And dreaming, even if it's sort of like a slow faucet at first, when you start there, it's kind of going to be like turning the dreaming faucet on, and it should start flowing more. And once you've found dreams that you really want to follow through on, then you can start working towards the ones you choose to together. And even the ones you don't choose to bring to life, they will have served you anyway by bringing your minds and your hearts together and enlivening your connection and joy. So start dreaming together if you don't do that a lot already. And of course, before we go, don't forget to go check out and join the Closer to Your Husband in 7 Days challenge. It's going to be so much fun and so connecting, and therefore so fulfilling for you. So go do that now and be even more oh so well into the future.